As a WWF fan, because we didn't obviously get Smoky Mountain here for the most, nothing like that. We only really got WWF and WCW later on. Who recommended you for the jobber position in WWF? And also, do you prefer enhancement talent or
I
jobber?
prefer enhancement talent or a carpenter.
Hmm.
But some people are just jobbers. It depends. I had went to like Grand Prix with a buddy of mine and worked. I did about 18-month tour up there, and New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. I had a good thing going up there, and we can come back and talk about that in a minute. But after my first tour up there. I came back to Kentucky. I wasn't planning on going, so that ended in like October. And my buddy went back to Florida. My plan was to go back to Florida right after Christmas. I was going to stay home for a couple months and take care of some things at home. So during that time period, several guys from Florida were going up and doing the TV jobs for WWF at the time. And I got a hold of one, and I knew before, like several guys were already doing WCW talent enhancement. Someone was doing WWF talent enhancement out of Malenko's camp. But when I saw one of the guys I'd been in Canada with on there, I saw him on TV. When I was like, that bastard didn't even tell me he was going to do a TV spot. So I immediately called him and I said, "What's the deal?" And I saw several other guys too that started later than he did. Doing them. And he goes, "Oh, just they came through and they needed some talent." And, he goes, "Get a hold of JJ." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I called Malenko and I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Well, just because you've done that tour, he goes, any exposure is good exposure." He said, "If they come to your area, get a hold of them, ask for JJ." So lo and behold, they was already scheduled to be here within about 3 or 4 weeks. And I just went up, knocked on the door, told security, "Hey, I'm supposed to be here with the wrestlers tonight." And I saw Pez Watley, who I always thought the world of, and I saw Brady Boone, but I knew both of them anyway. And they said, "Yeah, just go in there and ask for JJ, Bobby." And so that's what I did. And it was in Huntington, West Virginia, which is 15 minutes from my house at the arena they're doing TV to superstars of. I went and asked for JJ, and I told him where I'd been. Well, see, that was JJ's first territory, had actually been Grand Prix. So he knew all the names I had been working for, all the older guys, the Duprees and the Mills and the Cormiers, all these. And I was like, so he knew it wasn't full of shit. And plus he knew Malenko, so I said, "I've been trained there, blah, blah." Come in, so I had a couple matches with them, got done. And they said, "Where you at?" And I told them I was in this, greater tri-state area. And they said, "We're going to be over in Indiana and Ohio, about 4 or 5 hours from here next month. You want to come?" I was like, "Yeah, love to." So went and done that. Then like I said, I planned on going to Florida after Christmas. And so I got to Tampa right during the New Year. And they had a couple bookings in Orlando and Fort Myers. I took those bookings, because that gave me like 6 or 8 TV tapings, and it paid quite well, and you got the exposure. But then an opportunity to go to South Africa came up. And, I was actually had about this whole story, I went down to the Home Shopping Network and applied for a job. I had like $8 and lived with my brother. And I was like, I got to get a job. I knew it paid like $8 or $10 at the time. But anyway, as soon as I got home, the phone rang, and it was Ron Starr, who I'd been with up in Canada. And I thought he was ribbing me. He said, "You want to go to South Africa?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, the plane leaves tomorrow." And he told me to fill me all the details. He said, "I'll call you back in 5 hours." Well, I called a couple of the guys I was going to ride up with, because I had 2 more WWF tapings to do up in the panhandle of Florida. And I said, they said, "Man, you got to do it." So I called the office and I said, "I don't know what if you had me listed or not to come, but I won't be at these next couple of shows. Can you please keep my name active for future shows?" And the lady was real kind about it. I said, "Yeah." I didn't tell her what was going on. So next day I was on a plane to South Africa for 21 days. So that's the last time I'd really done any TV enhancement for them, or jobs or what have you. But really, it was just one of those things where being in the right place, right time, and being able to perform. That first match was against Roddy Piper. So
I've got the entire list.
strong.
I've got the entire list of people I'm actually going to quote you here.
Yeah.
John Nord, the Berserker, Roddy Piper, Tito Santana, Kerry Von Erich, Mike Rotundo, and Virgil.
Yeah.
Any of those that you remember that stick out in your mind for one reason
Yeah.
or
Well,
another?
all of them do. Piper, because it was first and he was doing the chair with Flair, and he wanted me to spit on him. And I was like, "This is Roddy Piper," and he goes, "No, kid, I'm telling you, spit at me from the ring," and so that was pretty good. Berserker was that same night, and it was just kind of it was just whatever. But the one that got Virgil, and I know Mike Jones, he didn't have a fucking clue. I'm gonna have to lead him around basically, and it's not a dig towards Mike or anything. It's just that he was just, he was just there trying to learn to work on the fly per se. But the one that got me, man, I won't say I still have nightmares about it, but the one I try to forget about is Mike Rotundo, IRS. We were in Daytona Beach. That's where it was. I said Orlando. It was actually, I think, Daytona Beach. And I went up, introduced myself, and told him, whatever he wanted to do, that, I'd been trained and worked some. And man, from the time the bell rang, I don't know if the bell rang, he beat the living piss out of me. It was so bad. And he didn't hurt me. I'm just saying, he just ate me up, man. Everything I did, he was eating me up. And it was so bad. I think of the 3 or 4 minutes that was supposed to air, I think they added it down to like 2 minutes because he didn't give me jack shit. And it was a good experience. But what was funny was I had done that on like a Saturday or Sunday or whatever day the show was. Well, the following week airs on Superstars, and we had just got done training at Malenko's, and my buddy and I and one of the girl wrestlers were going back to her place to eat. And I was flipping through the channels, and I still didn't know like I said, I've only been back to Florida for a couple weeks then. I didn't know the channel, flicking through what, which channel was which. They're over there cooking ramen noodles or something, we're living high as wrestlers, and the Superstars came on, and I said, "Oh shit, I think this is my match." And Rico and a girl, Jill, they come over, and it was over before it was over. I was like, "Oh my God," man. I said, "God, he beat the piss out of me, man." It was a good experience though. It really was. And the guys that were really good to me. Tito was easy, professional. I really respected that. Kerry was just like, well, here's what, and I was like, "What?" And he goes, discus punch. I was like, "Okay." So I went in there, and it was just really, really quick. And I was just like working around him. He stood there, and I worked around him. Then all of a sudden, he drove back, and I knew to expect to punch, and boom, didn't even feel it. Went down 1, 2, 3. "Oh, thank you. It's like in and out before you knew it, But I got to share the ring with the modern day warrior, But yeah. Just one of those things, plus they, like I said, the pay was pretty good and the experience was good because you get exposure.
Actually, I was going to ask this. Just before, the question I was going to ask you was Virgil as useless in the ring as he looked on television? That was legitimately my next question. So apparently, yes.
That. Yeah. You want to do this? He called these flippers. He wanted to do a form. I'll give you a couple flippers. And he's getting all excited and stuff. And I can't remember, someone, Tony Gurrier or someone said, "Hey, watch yourself in there." Just, it was just like a kind gesture, like, he didn't, but I've since, like I said, come to know him through the years, and he's a good guy, but it's like no clue in a ring.
Bless him.
So